April 2025. The North Atlantic is dark, starless, above the water, the pride of American naval power. A 100,000-ton nuclear aircraft carrier, escorted by destroyers and submarines, moves silently through the waves. To the 5,000 sailors on board, it seems like another night on watch, another patrol far from home. But in Moscow, a different plan is underway. Suddenly, the radar picks up the first signals. 30 Russian cruise missiles launched from warships, 20 more from submarines, and above them, a swarm of 50 suicide drones loaded with explosives. It is one of the largest coordinated naval attacks of the century, a three-pronged attack aimed at the heart of the U.S. Navy. For veterans and American citizens watching from afar, the message is clear. This is not just an attack on a ship, but a challenge to American supremacy. And the answer will shape what happens next. At 4:30 a.m., the calm waters of the North Atlantic carry the massive silhouette of a U.S. carrier strike group. The 100,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier cuts through the waves like a steel fortress, its decks lined with F-35C fighters, radar arrays scanning the horizon. For the sailors on board, it feels like another routine patrol, until the first alarms shatter the silence. In the span of seconds, intelligence confirms the unthinkable. 30 Russian cruise missiles have just been launched from warships, their deadly payloads racing across the sky at supersonic speed. Beneath the waves, a Russian submarine adds another 20 cruise missiles, rising from the deep with terrifying precision. And overhead, radar screens light up with swarms of dots, 50 suicide drones loaded with explosives, maneuvering like a pack of wolves hunting their prey. This is no random strike. It is a carefully orchestrated assault, a multi-layered attack designed to overwhelm the defenses of the most powerful navy on Earth. Missiles from the sea, missiles from below, and drones from the skies. A three-pronged hammer blow meant to cripple America's pride. The carrier itself. If they think they can break the backbone of the U.S. Navy, they are gravely mistaken. This ship is not just steel. It is America's promise. Admiral Jonathan Reynolds, U.S. Navy. For the 5,000 sailors on board, the mood shifts instantly from calm vigilance to raw survival. Alarms blare. Crewmen race to battle stations, and every weapon system locks onto the incoming storm. The captain's voice thunders across the intercom. All hands, brace for impact. This is not a drill. The night sky, once quiet, is now alive with trails of fire. In that moment, the U.S. carrier strike group finds itself at the center of one of the largest naval missile assaults in modern history. In the face of this massive and unexpected attack, do you think the U.S. Navy has the time to stop it? The first wave of Russian missiles streaks across radar, glowing red on the screens like daggers pointed at the carrier. But the U.S. Navy has prepared for this very nightmare. Within seconds, the multi-layered American defense shield comes alive, unleashing a symphony of firepower designed to destroy threats at every altitude and distance. At the outer perimeter, Aegis destroyers deploy SM-6 interceptors, sleek hypersonic defenders traveling at nearly Mach 3.5. One by one, they lock on and tear through Russian cruise missiles, detonating them in blinding flashes that light up the night sky. In less than 2 minutes, over 20 incoming warheads are annihilated before they can approach striking distance. Yet the attack does not end. From beneath the waves, submarine-launched missiles rise higher, closer, more dangerous. That is when the second layer of defense roars to life. Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESSM, erupt from vertical launch cells aboard the carrier's escorts, neutralizing the undersea-launched missiles with deadly accuracy. The sea shakes as fragments of burning metal splash down into the black water. Above the carrier itself, laser defense systems track the incoming swarm of suicide drones. Each beam of concentrated energy burns through wings and fuselages, dropping UAVs like smoking wrecks into the ocean. For those drones that slip closer, Phalanx CIWS, Gatling guns open fire, 6 barrels spinning at 4,500 rounds per minute, turning the night into a wall of tracer fire. Sailors on deck describe the sound as a metallic thunderstorm. Still, numbers matter. Out of 50 drones, 48 are destroyed before reaching the carrier. 2 manage to break through. They slam into the stern of the ship, erupting in fireballs that rattle the steel giant. The blasts tear holes in the deck plating, injuring 3 sailors critically and 5 more with burns and shrapnel wounds. The ship holds steady, but the shock is undeniable. Russia has drawn blood. But if the Kremlin thinks this will break American resolve, they are wrong, even as medics rush to treat the wounded. Orders crackle across the fleet. Prepare to strike back. Within moments, launch bays open. U.S. drones armed with precision mini-bombs rise into the air, engines screaming as they form swarms. Across the sea, American fast attack craft begin powering up, preparing to deliver retaliation with brutal speed. The Russian onslaught has failed to sink the carrier. Now, the U.S. Navy's fury is about to be unleashed before entering the sharp counterattack of the U.S. Navy. Please like and subscribe to the channel to support us. Now, join me in the center of the battle. The flames from the drone blasts have barely faded when the carrier commander gives the order that shakes the fleet. Strike back with everything we have. From the deck and escorts, 80 American mini-UAVs surge into the night sky. Each carries a 15 km precision charge. Small enough to evade radar, but powerful enough to shred steel. Flying in chaotic swarms of 10, they split into 8 separate waves, overwhelming Russian defenses. Within 7 minutes, over 40 Russian radar arrays and missile launch stations are obliterated, leaving the enemy ships blind and defenseless. Then comes the second hammer blow. 30 unmanned U.S. fast attack boats, each packed with 500 pounds of high explosives, race forward at nearly 60 knots. Russian gunners fire more than 6,000 rounds trying to stop them. But their tracers only light the path of destruction. 17 boats break through, ramming into Russian hulls with devastating force. The results are catastrophic. 2 destroyers sink in under 5 minutes. A 3rd frigate is left crippled and burning, and more than 300 Russian sailors are forced into the water. Across the open radio bands, the sound of desperation is undeniable. Russian officers scream for air cover that never comes, their voices breaking as their fleet dissolves around them. The humiliation is total. A force that has launched 100 combined weapons in its opening strike is now shattered by smaller, faster, deadlier American systems. For the U.S. sailors, this is more than defense. It is righteous fury. The Navy has taken a hit. 8 men injured, 3 critical, and now it is delivering payback with surgical precision. The Russian attack, meant to cripple a carrier, has instead unleashed its own nightmare, and the American counteroffensive is still climbing toward full force. Do not leave yet. This is the most dramatic part of the war. The sea is still boiling with fire. When the second phase of America's counterstrike begins, deep beneath the waves, a U.S. attack submarine silently adjusts its course. Then, with a roar that sailors describe as the ocean itself opening, it releases 12 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Each carries a 1,000-pound warhead, programmed to strike Russian command ships and ammunition depots. The missiles skim low across the water, their silhouettes invisible against the black horizon. Within minutes, they slam into the heart of the Russian formation. One missile detonates inside the bridge of a flagship frigate, killing its command crew instantly. Another strikes an ammunition hold. The explosion is so violent it shatters steel, hurling debris hundreds of feet into the air. By the time the barrage ends, 2 Russian warships are burning wrecks, and more than 150 sailors are dead or missing. But the assault does not stop there. Rising above the carrier group, 4 U.S. Navy helicopters thunder into the night sky. Each carries 5 Navy SEALs, veterans armed with miniguns capable of firing 4,000 rounds per minute. As the choppers roar low over the crippled Russian ships, their guns open up. Streams of glowing tracers pour across enemy decks, shredding any weapons still mounted and cutting down pockets of resistance. Survivors dive for cover, but there is nowhere to hide. The contrast is undeniable. Russia's attack has relied on complex, massive barrages, yet it collapses against layered defenses. America's response, by comparison, is brutally simple missiles from the depths, helicopters from the sky, and men with unbreakable discipline. It is not the sheer number of weapons, but the precision, the timing, and the coordination that turn the tide. On Russian frequencies, the humiliation grows louder. Distressed captains beg for evacuation. Gunners fire sporadically into the dark, hitting nothing. One Russian officer's final transmission crackles across open channels. "We cannot hold. The fleet is lost." For the Americans, this is vindication. Their carrier has been struck, their sailors wounded, but their response leaves no doubt. The ocean belongs to the U.S. Navy, and the Russian fleet, once so confident, is now reduced to burning steel and broken voices echoing across the sea. By dawn, the North Atlantic is no longer a battlefield. It is a graveyard. The once proud Russian strike group, which only hours earlier had unleashed 100 combined weapons in its furious assault, now lies in ruins. The sea is littered with twisted steel, burning oil slicks, and the cries of desperate men. Out of a fleet of 8 major warships and dozens of support vessels, only 3 remain afloat, all crippled, burning, and without command. The rest have been sent to the bottom, torn apart by American firepower. U.S. reconnaissance later confirms that over 600 Russian sailors are killed, more than 400 wounded, and at least 200 taken prisoner. Many are plucked from the freezing water by American helicopters. Humiliated survivors, stripped of their weapons, trembling as they realize the empire that sent them has abandoned them. The scenes on deck tell a story of total collapse. Russian prisoners wrapped in thermal blankets are lined up under guard. Some hang their heads in silence. Others shout angrily at their officers who have fled or died. A few weep openly for men who were promised glory. The humiliation is unbearable. On the American side, the message is clear. Discipline and coordination have defeated chaos and arrogance. The U.S. Navy has not needed endless barrages, just the right weapons launched at the right time by crews trained to perfection. 12 missiles from a submarine, 4 helicopters with 20 SEALs, 80 unmanned aerial vehicles, 30 fast attack craft. Together, this carefully orchestrated counterstrike erases an entire Russian battle group in less than 2 hours. As the carrier strike group regroups, damage control teams repair the stern of the ship. The injured 3 sailors in critical condition and 5 more with burns and shrapnel wounds are stabilized by Navy medics. The carrier, despite the attempted blow, remains operational, its runways ready for flight. The symbol of American sea power has not been broken. It has endured and then delivered justice. For Washington, the images broadcast back home are staggering. The nation sees Russian ships burning like torches, their men rescued not as warriors, but as captives. Veterans watching from their living rooms recognize the echoes of history. When America is struck, it rises stronger. In the end, the battle is not just about missiles and ships, it is about resolve. Russia has gambled everything on one massive strike and lost everything in return. America has shown that courage, training, and unity still rule the seas. And for the millions of older Americans watching, many of whom lived through the Cold War, the conclusion is unmistakable. The Navy is still the shield of the Republic, and no enemy can break its will. The night begins with shock and fury. Russia hurls 100 weapons, 30 cruise missiles, 20 submarine-launched strikes, and 50 suicide drones at a single American carrier. Their goal is humiliation, perhaps even destruction. Yet by dawn, the story is reversed. The U.S. Navy's layered defenses have held. The carrier, though shaken and scarred, still sails, and the Russian fleet, once boasting of power, has been reduced to wreckage, smoke, and silence. What shocks the world is not just the destruction of ships, but the numbers. 600 Russian sailors dead, 400 wounded, 200 captured. Entire vessels erased in minutes by precise American counterstrikes. 12 Tomahawks from beneath the sea, 4 helicopters with 20 SEALs, 80 unmanned aerial vehicles, 30 fast attack craft. A simple formula, but executed with flawless coordination. This is not technology alone. It is discipline, training, and the unbreakable spirit of a Navy that refuses to bow. For the families of the wounded sailors, the cost is real. 3 critically injured, 5 more hurt, a reminder that freedom and strength are never free. But their sacrifice stands as proof. America's defenders are willing to risk everything to ensure that no enemy strike will ever succeed. And for Russia, the humiliation is total. They hoped for triumph. Instead, they become a cautionary tale. A reminder that arrogance on the seas leads only to ruin when it collides with the steel shield of the United States. To every viewer, especially those who remember the long nights of the Cold War, this battle is proof that America still stands tall. Our Navy still guards the oceans. Our resolve is unbroken, and when tested, we will always fight back harder, faster, and stronger. If you value this analysis and believe in sharing the truth, support our channel, like, comment, and tell us, do you believe America's Navy remains the unchallenged guardian of the seas? Your voice matters. Stay with us, and together we will continue uncovering the lessons of history and the battles shaping our future.